What is going on, guys? It's Sharif here with another video on looking at reference designs for my UX designers and motion graphics, interaction, product designers, whatever you want to call your name, your title. But in these videos, we look at references from the industry to see, like, how do they design their apps? We look at design system, we look at components, we look at UI elements. We also look at experiences and best practices, so that it'll help you on the job, or really to improve your portfolio, or to really just improve your overall designer self. There we go. All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into it. As you can see, we're using Uber Eats in this example. I have Android on the left side and I have iPhone on the right side. In the last video, I actually kept saying iOS, but I need to get used to saying just iPhone. That's it. I usually just go by iOS device, whatever. It's iPhone, because a lot of times you say iOS, but like a lot of people don't know what iOS is, right? So iPhone, there we go. All right, so that said, let's go ahead and dive into it. Well, one, we want to look at a use case. That said, the most simplest use case for this app would be to order some food, right? I'm pretty hungry, so I might end up ordering something, or in this case, we might just get to the checkout point and not really order something. I don't want to just like cancel it, because then it's going to charge me. So I don't want to go that far, right? So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into the iPhone real quick. So one of the things that we're going to be looking at, right? I'm using iPhone 13. Okay, I got a blue one. You notice how my screen is not blue. Let me go ahead and change that real quick. All right, there we go. Sometimes it like changes to like the regular color, but anyway, that's not the point. So one of the things that I want to look at is the interaction states, right? Obviously iOS or iPhone is very fluid. So you're gonna have like this fluid interaction, right? Very smooth. When you scroll up or scroll down, that just transitions to the top, to the tabs. That easily transitions to the top. Sometimes it's a little bit more static or more sticky, right? It just moves forward in a linear fashion on Android sometimes. So I don't know about this one. It's like it doesn't have the tabs at the top, so you actually have to scroll up a little bit to see that. It's like this dynamic header, right? When I scroll down or scroll up, it's going to transition that tabs back into place. iPhone, it does the same thing, but it's a little bit more smooth. Android, it feels more linear, just pushes into it. Again, it just makes you think, like, are there two different designers? Are there two different interaction designers on the iPhone designing something, and then there's on the Android they're designing something, right? But at the same time, you still gotta adhere to the operating system specifics when you're designing this, right? So communicate that with your developers, right? You have a specific interaction. You have a state, right? You have state 1 or state A, and you have state B. Communicate those different states effectively with your developers, okay? Just make sure that, they can get on par with what you're trying to do, okay? You have like a simple horizontal scroller. That's pretty much the same on the Android device as well. Sometimes you have like a selection state, right? That's normal to the Android states, right? Like you have like this, you select it and it's like this darkened circular shape that outlines your selection, right? It's a bit different on iPhone. So I'm hovering over it, I'm selecting and I'm holding it. It's a bit different, okay? So one thing that I love about like animation, motion graphics, and implementing that within UX, right, is the loading states. So if you notice, when I first open that up, you see like this ghost wire or skeleton wire, right? And sometimes that just happens when you're on a new page. Okay, let me see if I can invoke the same thing again. Still a different loading experience. Let's see. No, that's circular loader. Trying to see if we can invoke the same thing. What if we just go to another page? Nope. Won't be able to do it. But those ghost wires are really important because it's informing them, or informing the user that this page is loading. So a part of the industry, we try to go to this Ghostwire, and sometimes we also do like this shimmer effect where you have the Ghostwire and it's like this shimmer effect that goes along the Ghostwire, and it's like a stripe, or sometimes it's like a gradient that moves along. So you're adding motion within that Ghostwire, so it just informs the user that this content is still loading in the background. That's really important, okay? And that also is a lot better than like a circle loader, right? So there's that shimmer effect. I probably should have done it on Android, but you have that shimmer effect, that Ghostwire, that informs them that the information is loading in the background. And there's that circle loader. This circle loader. Wow, I can't talk. The circle loader. The infinite circle loader is almost like the what do you call it? The infinite death screen on Xbox, right? When they used to have that. Nobody likes the infinite circle loader. However, sometimes you can get away with it because it's really, sometimes it's helpful and sometimes it's just not, because you have like this circle loader that just infinitely loads the information. That can cause anxiety, that can cause like worry about like, when is this information actually going to load? That's going to leave people just wondering, like, is this information ever going to load? I'm just going to leave or close out the app. You don't want that. So sometimes it's good to have like some type of gradual experience, right? We call this the gradual loader experience, where you have a you have a circle loader, which then turns into Ghostwire. Then you turn that Ghostwire into the actual finalized bit of information, whether it be contents of text or imagery, etc. There's also another experience. I'm not sure if Uber Eats does this. Yeah, I highly doubt it. Let's see. I don't know if you would be able to tell here. No, I think it just loads the image. But there's another experience, a part of that gradual loader experience, where you have a Ghostwire, it then loads the imagery, and maybe the imagery is pixelated or it's blurred out, and then it actually loads the full image. We'll go more in depth of how that looks, and I'll give you some more examples of that on different apps. And the one that comes to mind is actually Medium. If you ever heard of the Medium app, which is a good app about, you know, looking at different articles that are driven by people who are in the industry, right? Anybody can create an article on Medium, but a lot of people who are in the industry, who are professionals, etc., they create articles on Medium. That's a really good app. So I'll talk about that a little bit later in another video. We'll look at that one in a couple weeks. I don't know. A couple days, couple weeks, I don't know. But with that being said, you know, we looked at some of the gradual loading experiences, and loading experiences a part of Uber Eats. Let's go ahead and look at how we can look at, or, you know, buy something, right? Order something. And a part of Uber Eats is actually ordering a meal, and they send it to you. Somebody drives to your house or apartment, and they give you your meal, right? So that said, obviously this is a fake address. I'm using Buckhead for the time being. Right. Let's see. I have my trusty Google Pixel here. This is the Google Pixel 4a. Okay, so it's not the latest, but it gets the job done, right? And then I have my iPhone 13. So let's go ahead and order some Gus dumplings from Cross Street Market. Boom, let's go and click on that. You see how that page loads? It loads fast, which is really important. Let's go ahead and scroll down. You notice how there's like a little, right at the top of this modal, right, of this element, you have like this little line, this little gray line. That just means it's a drawer, right? And sometimes at work, we sometimes call that a drawer, right? You notice how when you open up a drawer, there's actually like a metal bar or a piece that you can physically grab and push it out or push it in. It's a drawer, right? That's why we sometimes name these elements a drawer, because you're just pushing it up and down. So we consider it a drawer. It's the technical term is a modal, M-O-D-A-L, modal, right? And so sometimes you can have like this really cool interaction where you drag up the modal and you turn the entire header into this, which is really helpful, because what we're doing here is that you push the information below. You can still scroll to see what you want a part of your, you know, Gus dumplings. You can add more items or select the items, a part of the menu. But because there's a lot more information on the page, you can go to the specific elements. It's kind of like responsive scrolling. So if I tap on, you know, there's pick for you, there's combos. It responsibly scrolls to that area on the page, right? And it's the same thing for iPhone as well. Let's go ahead and go to the same little restaurant too. Got dumplings. Let's see how they treat it on the iPhone. So it's vastly different, which is kind of weird, right? So let's see. The difference is you have like a bigger selection box, or you know, it's like this cylinder, not cylinder, oval shape, versus on the Android it's a underline, right? So it really depends on the design system that you're working with. Sometimes there's two different teams, or maybe there's one designer creating a design system for both apps, right? And you have another designer who's creating the design system on the website. So sometimes it's really good to create like this differentiation on some of the elements, and sometimes it's just because you're designing against the operating system, and the operating system is very different on both platforms. iOS has a different operating system, Android has a vastly different operating system. It really depends on what you're trying to aim for, right? I personally like the iOS version just because the information, or how that looks, or what my selected tab is, it's more easier to read, right? Especially from a distance. It's a smaller device, I can read it easier from a distance. It's easier to see veggie versus like an underline, and with all the information going on the page, it's so much easier to read that. So I personally prefer the iOS. Yeah, it just really depends. I'm just a guy with an opinion. It's a designer with an opinion. Okay, so that's just me. Let's go ahead and see. Like, I don't see a more menu, which I just tapped on that 3-dot more menu at the top right there. I don't actually see that on the iOS, so I'm assuming we might have to invoke that modal somewhere else on the iPhone, right? Which I'm really honestly not sure where it would be on the iPhone, but you know, it's whatever. So I'm gonna go to combos. Let's go ahead and get Krog Street Lunch. I'm gonna add this. Let's go over here on the iPhone. Let's see how they treat that. You notice how, you know, it looks more fashionably, more cleaner, I guess you could say. It looks more cleaner on iPhone. Like when I'm scrolling down the element, I don't know, it just looks really clean and smooth. On Android, you know, you can see that transition. It's kind of weird. You see what I'm saying? Like when I do that, let me see if I can try it again. I don't know, it's kind of weird, but again, it's just Android. Apple has a much better code language that they're working with, and obviously, you know, the industry is going towards React Native, which helps, but it's not like super crazy. I would recommend like looking at Flutter. Flutter is developed by Google. React Native was developed by Facebook, which pretty much allows for like a single code base. So imagine if Android is using Java right here, and then Apple is using their normal Swift code language, right? What they would do is use React Native, which is a single code base, and you would develop both of these on one single platform. For Uber Eats, I'm not too sure if they've done that, possibly, but you know, it really just depends on the company or whatnot, and the development team and what they want to work with. So with all that jibber jabber, let's go ahead and add some items here. I'm gonna go no spicy. Actually, I do like a little bit of spicy, so I'm going more spicy. No spicy. Let's just tap on more spicy. And one with the extra spice. Let's go with that. I'm gonna do jasmine green tea milk. Let's go and add to the cart. There we go. So let's go ahead and do the same thing over here. Less spicy, whatever. Gluten free, sure, why not? Spring rolls. Add to cart. So that experience was a little bit different. I think I did not see that loader right there on the Android, so a little bit different. So let's go ahead and view cart. And you'll notice how it was a little bit slower on the Android device, which is okay. Sometimes you gotta work against the code base, the database or whatnot, which you're working with. Sometimes it might be slower, sometimes it might be faster. That's okay. You as a designer need to work with your developers to adhere to the slowness or fastness of your design system, right? Or not design system, of your product in this case, okay? So go ahead and go to checkout. You notice how, what is this? Charlie button? No thanks. So on the Android, it actually moved, or a transition animation was from, I believe it was like left to right, or right to left. So it went into the page, so it went from right to left, and we got to this page, and the way to get back is to go at the top is a back arrow. Let's do it again, right to left. On iOS, we're using a full page modal, right? So go to checkout, it pulls up from the bottom to the top. So it's different. It's really the designer's choice on how you want to navigate to the next page. You know, it's weird. I'd rather keep it consistent, right? But there might be a specific reason to why they chose to do that, right? That's up to the designer, and the designer should be in communication with the product owner, the product manager who is on the product itself, as well as the development team, right? Sometimes there might be a constraint, so you need to design against that constraint, right? But again, preferably I'd like it to keep it consistent, but maybe there is a reason to why they did this, okay? So you notice how if I'm scrolling up, the title goes into the top there. On iOS or iPhone, it just scrolls with the page itself, okay? It's not really giving me context to what page I'm still on if I'm still scrolling through. That's okay. I mean, all you gotta do is scroll up. That's it, you know? So I can review my information. Let's check out these modals real quick, the information. So I'm clicking on the taxes and fees. It's the exact same thing, except on Android, there's no line separators or dividers, or how you wanna call that. That's interesting. It's an interesting design choice. I would keep it consistent, but then again, it makes me think maybe there were two designers working on this and they did not communicate. What the freak? Come on, guys, you gotta freaking get your ish together. I'm just kidding. So very similar. You notice how it's left aligned on Android and it's center aligned on iPhone. I prefer it to be center aligned. I think it's cleaner. But left aligned, you know, sometimes you have a design that needs left alignment, right? But again, it's two different designs. It's just kind of weird to me. So I'm gonna go ahead and put on a business. That's the same thing. They might be using, they're using material design on Android. You notice how there's a drop shadow on the toggle here, right? So I don't think there's any loading there. Yeah, there's not much loading. So yeah, so like on iPhone, we're using a circle loader, and then on Android using the skeleton wires. You see what I'm saying, with the shimmer? That's what I was talking about earlier. So it's kind of weird on how just the little kinks that they're doing on both platforms, right? And again, it might be a specific reason to why they did that. Again, it's up to you as the designer to design against those constraints. Okay, let's go ahead and hit next. So we went into the page. And you notice how on iPhone I can easily just get out of this by dragging it down. Actually, I can't get out of it. No, I can't. So even if I'm tapping in the dark scrim area at the top of the page, I can't get out of it. So it's not using the iOS modal. It's actually a custom modal here. Okay, I can't do the same thing on the Android because I can't scroll down. Check out that modal. It's a little bit different, right? Look at that. Ooh, so you notice how on the left on Android it's a circle. It's like a capsule design. On iOS, it's a rectangle. So that's really weird. You notice how the content and the information in there is it's the same, but you have okay and you have got it. So, sometimes when you're working on teams, like fast teams, and you're trying to get your product out, sometimes it might take more communication, and sometimes you might forget because there's so much going on. There's so many moving parts a part of the app. You might get lost on different areas of the app, and sometimes you just might have to go back in and tell your developers, like, hey, I need that to be updated. It may be a design decision, or maybe it just be a developer issue, right? So just make sure that you're in communication with your developers and make sure that you go back in and see those different areas that you may have messed up at, or maybe it's just a design that you forgot to update. Okay, sometimes a design system needs to be updated later on. Okay, so with that being said, you can just go ahead and place the order, give a tip. It really depends on what you're looking for. So with that being said, we're just going to go ahead and end the video here. I hope you got a gist of the different languages and the different design systems of Uber Eats on both platforms, right? You notice how I caught that button difference there, right? Because I'm thinking like they've updated their design system to fit the rectangle buttons that we see right here, but that one little area they might have forgot to update that, or maybe there's a specific reason. I don't know. Okay, I don't work for Uber Eats. Okay, I don't work for them. I don't design for them. Okay, so don't come at me like that. Okay. Whoa, stay in your lane, guys. Just kidding. All right, but anyways, this was a great video. I hope that this really helped. It was a long and lengthy one, but that's okay. You know, this is really a learning moment. This is really a for you designers out there who are looking to get better. Okay. So with that being said, remember to like and subscribe. Liking the video will help the YouTube algorithm so that my video can get seen by more designers so that I can actually help them out, okay? So please like and subscribe for more videos for later, as well as post a comment below and just send me your thoughts about Uber Eats and what you've noticed too. So I hope that you were actually following along on the Uber Eats app. And let's just see, you know, post your comments in the video, and I'll make sure to respond. All right, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.